Majin Tensei is a series of strategy games that are a spin-off from Shin Megami Tensei, and began with the first game released in 1994. Since then, there have been 4 additional titles, being made right up until 2008. This series has flown under the radar, as these games have never been localized for a Western audience. This has resulted in a question that pops up into the Western fanbase's head when the name Majin Tensei comes up. Hey guys, my name is Resin Unleashed, and I'm here today to answer the question, what is Majin Tensei? The first Majin Tensei was released on January 28, 1994, for the Super Famicom and later for Microsoft Windows. The Super Famicom version was re-released through the Nintendo Power Flash Memory Service on December 1, 1997, and digitally through the Virtual Console service for the Wii and the Wii U on September 6, 2011 and July 15, 2015. The story of the first Majin Tensei starts in the late 1990s. During this period, ethnic battles around the world result in a large amount of death, and a large portion of the world being closed off. Decades later, in 2020X, a boy living in Nida, Tokyo, in the area D03, suddenly receives a mysterious demon summoning program on his comm from someone called Takeuchi, with demons appearing immediately after. After clearing a demon infestation in the SADA laboratory and freeing the people held captive, he finds a young woman in cryogenic sleep who decides to join him out of gratitude after realizing she has amnesia. The second Majin Tensei was released on February 19, 1995 for the Super Famicom and later for Microsoft Windows. The Super Famicom version was re-released through the Nintendo Power Service on December 1, 1997, and through the Virtual Console for the Wii and Wii U on December 13, 2011 and June 1, 2016. The story of Majin Tensei II is set in Tokyo in the year 1996. During this time, a demonic invasion and a coup d'etat by a mysterious man transforms the city into a demon capital. A group of people called Partisan stages a rebellion against the new government, but before long, the situation escalates. What follows is a battle between parallel universes with time travel as a key element. The third game in the series, Ronde, was released on October 30, 1997 for the Sega Saturn. The story is set in the year 2008, where researchers from T University discover a crystal statue in the ruins of an Aztec civilization, along with a series of characters. When decoded by a computer, these characters invoke the revival of a demon and an outbreak of demons within cyberspace. At the start of the game in August, the protagonist, Asuka Miroku, and his younger brother, Satoshi Miroku, are attending an exhibition of the Aztec culture at the Tokyo National Museum with 2 of Asuka's old friends from school, Keita Matsumoto and Sakuro Saotome. Suddenly, the crystal statue comes to life as the demon Moloch abducts Satoshi, forcing Asuka and his friends into a battle to rescue him. The fourth game in the series, Majin Tensei Blind Thinker, was released on August 15, 2007 for mobile phones and November 1, 2007 for Microsoft Windows. The story is set in Tokyo 20XX after the Third World War. The AGE corruption is developing a new form of energy and has constructed a city called Neo Tokyo and follows the hero and a man who accompanies him. The last game in the series at the moment, Majin Tensei Blind Thinker 2, was released on March 14, 2008 for mobile phones. It is set in Tokyo and follows Takeru and the artificially created demon Zora. These games stray away from the typical JRPG formula of the Shin Megami Tensei titles. Players take on the role of a human character who battles against demons. They navigate a field seen in a top-down perspective in Majin Tensei, and in a 3/4 perspective starting in Majin Tensei II, with characters represented by small, stick figure-like sprites, and switch to screens with large detailed characters when engaging in battle. In the first Majin Tensei, only the opponent is shown in battle screen, while Majin Tensei II uses a split-screen presentation to show both sides. Ronde is an exception and instead uses 3D graphics with a scrolling camera. On the field, the player can access pools that regenerate their energy, and starting in Majin Tensei II, they can use terrain to gain an advantage in battles, increasing their defense rating. the player can also use items which are bought using money they earn from battles. To attack enemies or support allies, the player needs to move their units on the field so they are adjacent to the target of the action. In addition to fighting, the player can choose to talk to demons encountered on the field and attempt to recruit them to their party. The success of this depends on the player's level, with more powerful demons only being recruitable if the player's level is sufficiently high. In Ronde, the player does not initiate these conversations themselves, however, instead defeated demons sometimes choose to talk to the player, and sometimes decide to join their party. Like in other Megami Tensei games, the player can fuse multiple allied demons with each other, thereby creating more powerful demons. In Ronde, the player can form contracts with demons, allowing human characters to use demon magic. Demons are fueled by magnetite, so the player needs to manage the supply of this and thus cannot have too many allied demons on the field at once, or take too long to finish a battle. By clearing battles, the player can advance to the next chapter. The game's stories are affected by players' choices and have multiple endings. The development of the first two games were handled by Atlus, while Ronde was handled by Multimedia Intelligence Transfer, and both Blind Thinker titles by BBMF Corporation. Critical reception for the first two Majin Tensei games were very well received. They were highly critical of Ronde, labeling it a kusoge, which roughly translates to shit game. They did go on to mention that Ronde was not completely terrible, but a lot of Japanese reviewers at the time called it a poor man's Shining Force 3. So there you guys have it, one of the more forgotten spin-off series of the Megami Tensei franchise. These games, while they are different from the rest of the series, were pretty popular and doing just as well as their main series counterparts at the time. I want to say Devil Survivor might be a spiritual successor to Majin Tensei, but that's only a superstition as they have similar styles of gameplay. What do you guys think about that, or Majin Tensei in general? Have you played the games or have you not heard too much about them? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. That'd really help me out. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. And with that all being said and done, my name is Resin Unleashed, the resident who likes reading through old Megami Tensei games and unleashing that information into the world, and I'll catch you all next time.